Fur and the Fan friends, and welcome to this week's episode where we are what? That's right, we're going to have a lot of fun. Hey, before we get started, I just want to point out that my assistant got me this wonderful shirt, Fur and the Fan. Thank you very much. Now, I bet you every one of you out there are going to want one of our Fur and the Fan shirts. Well, all you have to do is nothing because we don't have any online. We don't have any swag. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to appreciate this one. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with our build today. Last time, if you'll remember, we left off with this awesome icebox, now which is being used as an awesome shelf for right now. But after today's episode, we are going to have two more things added to this trailer. We are going to put in our sink today. We are going to be putting in our storage, our stove, and all the little accessories and pieces of the puzzle that goes with filling in this empty space. So sit right back in your chairs right there and we'll be right back. Well, as you can see here in our magazine, we do have this photo of what we know that it is supposed to look like. We are following the icebox as close as we can. We are reusing the sink that we had originally in this trailer. We're going to swap up our stovetop just a little bit, but we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, why don't we go ahead and start putting all of our many pieces of the puzzle together. So we've taken a lot of time off camera to drill our holes and mark in our little space down here where all of our little pieces need to go. We have our backer board right here, which is our final piece to go ahead and cover this in here. We have our Swiss cheese piece of wood that is going to hold up one side of the sink. And then we have our regular Americana cheese to hold up the other side of the sink. All right, so let's go ahead and install our backer. Move our pieces of cheese out of the way. And all we're going to do to install our backer is we're going to use these little 1-inch, they're kind of a grooved now. You can see that it's kind of got grooves in it, and that'll kind of help it from backing itself out. So we're going to use those to hold this panel in place. I'm going to locate my hammer and I'll be right back and show you it all installed. Well, all right, here we are all installed. I went ahead and used those little nails to secure our backer board, which separates our kitchenette area from our shelves and our cubby on the other side. Now, we are going to move on to our sink, and we're going to be using our little pieces of cheese. So you might be asking, Fur, why are you using Swiss cheese in your trailer? Well, I wanted to make it lighter. So you cut out all the little holes, makes it a little bit lighter, and it looks like a really yummy piece of cheese. All right, we're being a little silly today, but we're gonna get serious now, and we're gonna install this sink. All right, this little part right here, it's actually pushed up against our icebox. And when we put our sink on and we put our faucet on, our faucet's actually gonna slide down right in this area here, and we'll need a little space here to attach the water line to it. So we wanted to leave space for that. And the other holes, other than they look really cool, it is for lightening up our piece of wood because we want to keep this trailer as light as possible. So the next step is going to be to stick this piece right under here. You can't see that, so let's move you in. And we'll slide you down. So this piece goes here. Then we're going to put this piece right here. This is our original sink from the 1940s. I don't know if you remember or not, but this sink used to actually extend. This piece used to be straight. And it used to have this part attached and this part attached. But in order for this sink to actually fit this trailer now, because we added this little extra space for the cab interior, we needed to bend this part up, which is fine because it gives us a nice little backsplash for water and stuff here to be splashing against. We are going to install the drain the same way as we did before. I just need to get some putty and screw this down and putty that in place. And then once I get that done, I'll be right back and we'll set this in there. To install our sink, we're just going to slide these pieces of wood down here to match right in that notch there and right inside of there. So we're just going to slide it over the top. Everything just lines up beautifully. So that's going to go just like that. Now what we need to do is we need to add a couple of screws on this side over here, here, and here. And we're also going to be adding screws from the bottom of our floor here up into this brace and up into this brace so that it's all nice and secure and won't go anywhere. All right, I'm going to take a few minutes, add all of our screws here, and we'll get on to the next phase, which is over to the stove area. The next part we're going to talk about and install will be our stove. So let's go take a look at the old one and we'll talk about a few things. So here's our old stove. As you can see, it is a 3-burner. It's actually in not as good a shape as I had hoped. And as you can see here on the front, all the porcelain's been pretty much rusted off, as well as on the side. If we take a look at this photo right here, you can see that this part of our kitchenette was down, probably soaking in water, or it was down low enough to where all water accumulated there and basically rusted out this part of our stove. Now, I really wanted to restore it, but with that in mind, sitting in water for I don't know how many years, if we take a look at the inside, you can see, well, you might not be able to see, but I'm telling you, this is rusted out. Our main pipe that goes between the three, it's full of rust. Each of our burners, they're full of rust. And as much as I wanted to use this particular stove to take it back to the 1940s, I'm a big chicken when it comes to exploding. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to bypass this stove. What we're going to do is we're going to do something just a little bit different. It has the same flavor as what they would have done back in the 1940s. So let's go ahead and go back to the trailer and I'll show you what I came up with. What I've come up with is this. Now, what we need to do, oh, it wasn't enough? Okay, what I came up with is this. What this is a stainless steel door. And this door is going to sit something like that. So we'll have a stainless steel counter all the way across the top. How are we going to cook? I'll show you that in just a minute. But first what we need to do is add the inside guts, so to speak. It's going to hold up this part of our countertop, and that will be next as I go and find all 10 or 11 little pieces that need to go in the bottom. So keep this in mind and we'll come back to it in a little while. went ahead and installed 1, 2, 3, 4 little ribs. Now what those are going to do is they're going to support this, our interior panel. Put it in here. That fits in something like that. And then because this is on a bend, we're going to have to secure the top and slowly push this piece of wood to conform to those ribs. It's going to look nice. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'll go ahead and do some conforming, and then I'll bring you on back and let you see the results. Let me take a minute and show you what we've done. And when I say we, I say myself and my lovely assistant. She helped me to install these. Yes, it's a nice, strong little trunk back if you ask me. Thank you, assistant. All right, let's get back to installing our pieces. Now we're going to go ahead and install the rectangular frame and the 2 columns that are going to hold up that beautiful stainless steel door that I showed you. So let's find our pieces, then I'll get to screwing this thing together. Now over here at the trailer, we're going to put this frame right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to support the back, although we didn't really need it because we have this little notch here and whatnot. We could have just sat it on there, but I think this will give it a little bit more security because it's going to be opening and closing a lot. And then the other piece is this piece right here, and that's going to sit kind of in a groove like that. And then we've got to add just one more piece that goes along here, which will hold up this front part. Now we're going to secure our first frame with pocket screws. Push that over and down. Just like that. And we'll do one more screw. Now let's put the frame on top. We have secured our frame. Let's take you down there and let you take a look. All right. So we have our little, what I'm going to call our kitchen trunk. It is all ready to go here. We have our back frame, so that'll hold our new little lid. We built this little frame here, which also holds the lid. And then the only thing we have to do is, one, put our new little door lid on here. And then we need to put a little piece of something along this front edge. But we'll do that after we get our lid on, our door, so we can get it to be nice and flat. So the next phase is, let's put on our brand new stainless steel top door. All right, here we go. I sure hope this fits. Gone through a lot of effort here. Okay. That's gonna slide just beautifully there, right? Yeah. Like that. It's looking good. We lost our access under here when we put our trunk in. So this might be a little bit tight. There you go. Got a little you gotta kind of muscle it a little bit. But not too much, you don't want to break it. Now I've just got to put a piece along here and we'll call it good. Well, we've secured our brand new stainless steel lid door, kitchen trunk, what have you, right here next to our old brand new sink. One more thing we need to do, and that is, how are we going to cook our food in the back of our kitchenette? Well, not being able to use our existing stove, I thought about what would they have done back in the day. And I actually looked back at the picture again in the magazine, and they had what was similar, or maybe it even was, it was a Coleman stove. Your typical green camp stove. And so what I did is I thought that would be a great idea. I bought one and I brought it home and I put it here, but there's one little problem with the Coleman stove. The Coleman stove is the same width as right here to right here, which is fine, except for the gas bottle on it would hang over into the sink. If I slid it more this way, then we have one of our burners under here, catching our little trailer on fire. And since we put so much effort into this little trailer, we don't want to burn it down. So what we are going to do, unless we can find a narrower 2-burner stove, we are going to use got to get a handle on that. We're going to use this. It is a single burner, uses a gas bottle that you put in here, and it can be stored away when we're not using it, which would allow us to use all of our counter space. But in case we just want to cook one thing, there it is. There's plenty of room around here. We won't be burning down our camper. The other thing which I've thought about, because it would be nice to have 2 burners, you know, if you have your eggs and your bacon and whatnot cooking right here, it might be nice to have a little bit of hot cocoa. Do have a smaller burner that I use when I'm camping, and it's just one little single tiny little thing that's perfect for heating up some hot water for that cocoa. All right, so this is our new kitchenette. Not fully functional, but you have a good idea. The only thing we need to do now to finish this up is obviously put on the doors. They're made, we just have to put hinges on, and add our little faucet. And there's one other spot that we haven't figured out yet, and that is this spot right down here. In the magazine, it shows there being a little door here, and you place your utensils in there, like your spatulas and whatnot. And I think we're gonna go ahead and do that, but I do want to consult one of my camp friends who lives down the street, and I wanna ask him a few things about when he's out camping, what makes sense to go where. Because to be honest, I have never had a camper before. I hesitate only because I did have a camper when I was 5. I put electricity in it. It was awesome until the wind came and blew me over. That's a whole nother story. But I do want to get a little bit of information on somebody who has camped with a trailer outdoors, so I can kind of get a better feel for how I should, for how I should finish off this particular area here. But that will have to be another time. I thank you very much for stopping in at Fur in the Fan this week, and we will be continuing on next week with, I think we're going to tackle one of the biggest next projects, and that project is going to be the banquette, and no, we can only do one thing at a time, you know that. We're going to tackle the banquettes, or the seats, I guess is what you call it, inside of the camper. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.